about that debacle in Buffalo. Chips
Absolutely.
chips all over the field on that one, man.
Yeah.
You go up 7-0, and then you crap out the whole rest of the game. Jeez.
And it wasn't blue chips either.
No, that's for darn sure. Not a lot of surprises. I mean, the Giants came back to win their game. The Steelers
Yeah.
probably didn't deserve to win theirs, but they still got the win.
You
So
got to
talk
win.
about that and the Deshaun Watson thing. The Chargers, man. We'll talk about them. But I got 3 o'clock. So what do you say we roll this thing?
Let's hit it. Let's hit the clock.
All right.
Game day, baby! Let's go!
It is indeed game day. Welcome to NFL Nation Live. It's our week 3 show. Violator, along with the Hall of Famer Wayne Violator Mabry and the legendary pirate Captain Jack. We're going to close the books on week 2. Kind of a wild one in some cases, not so much in others. We'll get you ready for week 3, including tonight's game, where the Giants are going to go into San Francisco and probably not do as well as they did against the Cardinals. But in any case, we'll cover all that and a few other things. We might even put somebody on the clock. But before we get to all of that, V, welcome to the show. What are your first quick thoughts, my friend?
From what I saw, brothers, it looks like a weekend of surprises and more disappointment. So, hey, we're still just trying to find out how to tie our shoes.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that all comes together a little bit, and then we'll get the inside scoop from the captain because he was at the game. So, but I'm pretty sure he's ready for week 3. I'm ready for week 3. V, are you ready for week 3?
I'm clocked in. Let's get it.
Welcome to NFL Nation Live. Ref Guru, Violator, Captain Jack with you to get you ready for week 3. Let's close the books first, though, on week 2. Welcome, everyone, to the show. Wow, there was some craziness going on. We'll get to the Raiders here in a little bit, but the Eagles and Vikings kicked off last week. Minnesota now 0-2. The loss in week 1 at home against Tampa Bay. Now they went on the road, lost to the Eagles. No division losses for the Vikings yet, but they have 2 losses in the NFC to maybe what could be 2 playoff teams. You guys take on the Vikings now going 0-2 with the Chargers coming in this week.
Wow. I don't think the Chargers scare them that much, but will the Vikings turn that ship around, or is it going to continue to sink slowly as the season goes? They just picked up a running back from the Rams, matter of fact.
Yeah, but I tell you what, that boat may be on fire if they don't get it fixed and get it fixed early. Um, Cap, welcome to the show. I know you're just back from Buffalo. We'll get to the Raiders game in a minute, but you have any thoughts on last Thursday's game?
Uh, Other than it was on Thursday and it was a great way to start the week. No, not really. What was I? Oh, I know what I was doing last Thursday. Yeah, I didn't watch the game because I had other stuff to do.
Yeah,
So my thoughts on it was.
yeah, and Cap working a pinched nerve in the shoulder. If you wonder what all that extra activity is going on over there, um, you know, the Raiders went into Buffalo, and I mean, they looked good on the first drive, right, Captain? What the heck happened, man? A field goal for the whole rest of the game. I know we're going to talk about, all the holding calls we didn't get. And if you thought last week was bad, wait till this week. But let's stay with Buffalo here for a minute. Give us the lowdown on Niagara Falls fallout, man.
Well, it was the greatest 2 minutes and 45 seconds of any game, minus one negative rushing play, which forebode what was going to be going on for the rest of the game. The first drive was great. They had one negative play, which was a rushing play. The rest of the plays were fantastic. Pip pip, 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 going down the field. And actually, the Adams touchdown, which he was running like right towards myself in Hollywood, looked good. I looked up and the crowd was just you just it just the air went out, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is good. This is good because it shut people up. And then in my estimation, the turning point of the game was the Garoppolo interception on a tip pass. That's 2 weeks in a row where Garoppolo has a tip pass that is instrumental in either taking points off the board or giving a turnover in momentum.
Yeah.
And I actually had to, like I said, guy is 6'2". And normally guys that are 6'2" don't have problems with passes being batted down. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to see the exactness of how it happened or obviously great plays by the Broncos last week and the guy this week. But you wouldn't normally expect a guy who's a 6'2" quarterback that actually can move around having his balls batted. Yes, I said it correctly
Yeah.
like that, just to see people if they're
Yeah, we're paying attention. Balls batted. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And so that was the turning point because anything after that, the Raiders couldn't get arrested in a whorehouse with $1,000 bills and a bunch of cocaine on them as well.
So
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
So
It was weird.
yeah, well, Josh Jacobs had negative rushing yards for the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? Offensive line not taking control of the line of scrimmage. Jacobs now has his money, so he's like, whatever. Um, you know, the tight end's not involved in the game. Where's Renfro? I mean,
Well, honestly, and I was looking, and it looked to me, and again, I only have the stadium view perspective,
yeah,
but it looked like every time the Raiders were running the ball, the left side of the line was getting pushed in. Like, well, I don't want to finish that
a
comment.
dent
because it
or
would
a Kia.
offend-
Yeah,
Yeah, so it would offend some folks. Not that there's anything wrong with the folks that would be offended,
understood.
but as far as being pushed in. But like I said, the left side looked like Miller and Parm were just getting blown up, and the guys were coming in right across them and getting the back in the backfield. And with the negative rushing yards that Jacobs had, it was the first time in God knows at least 20 something years where a rushing champion has a negative yardage game. A negative yardage game.
Wow.
And that's just amazingly horrendous in that fact. Zeus came in at the later portions, but again, I actually think that the way that they were playing in like soft zones, like you keep everything in front of you, as long as you don't get burned for like an 80, 90-yard touchdown, the running game was going to be there. And then he coughs up the ball, so which was upsetting. So again, a great weekend. I tell you, Raider Nation was out in force on Saturday night, taking over the Soho Club. It was really, really cool to see that. And there was a decent amount of us there in the parking lots and around. And if you're ever in Buffalo, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're have some relatives that are Bills fan. But there's some neat things. There's some neat things to be over there. As far as like the game time, they like the ketchup and mustard thing, which was weird. But the sucking a shot out of a bowling ball. I got it. Somebody sent me the video. I can't figure out how to actually post it because they sent it to my messenger. So I might have to send it to somebody to send it back to me so I can actually post it.
Okay.
Weird, but a good weekend aside from two things. Yeah, the 3.5 hour beatdown and whatever this effing pinched nerve. I'm a doctor Captain is talking. I'm pretty sure it's a pinched nerve in the neck because my neck friggin' hurts and my right arm has been hurting since Monday.
Wow.
And there isn't enough gabapentin or Flexeril or whatever, or heating pads or ice in the world to help that out.
Well,
so unfortunately, I might have to have less chains this week.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you're hurting, and thanks for sticking it out on the show tonight. I know you're doing extra duty there. The Packers went in Atlanta, got beat by the Falcons. The Packers were without a couple of their players this week, but I think this is a Falcons team now that everybody's starting to pay attention to, and maybe the faux Pirates as well. Although the Tampa Bay will have a test this week against the Eagles. But what are y'all's thoughts on Atlanta? I mean, they're 2-0. They're going to go to Detroit this week, or is Atlanta overrated, or are they for real?
To me, what I saw from their highlights, Atlanta, I call them the Dirty Birds.
Yeah,
They're really forming their identity
they
as
are.
a
Yep.
physical team, a
Yep.
run first offensive team, and you can just see that carry over. This kid, Bijan Robinson, man. I'm like, usually
Yeah.
when a running back gets drafted that high, you don't expect all of that, but this dude is all that and a bowl of chips, man.
Yep. Well, Atlanta, they're going to go to Detroit this week. They got two road games. They're going to go to Detroit. I'm sorry, they're going to go to play the Lions, and then they're going to go to Jacksonville. Then they go home to play Houston and Washington before they have a couple division games. So it'll be interesting to see how they play out in the next couple of weeks. But there's nothing wrong with being 2-0 in September. Just ask the Vikings or maybe the Bengals, who would rather maybe have their fortunes to be different this time. And speaking of the Bengals, they lost last week at Cleveland. They go home this week to try to turn things around. They didn't get it done, you all. They go home. They get beat by Baltimore. The game was not as close as the score actually.
Right.
It was a 3-point win for the Ravens, but actually I think Baltimore dominated most of the game until late. But I think should we be worried about the Cincinnati Bengals right now at 0-2 with two losses in the division? Yeah, me too. I mean,
Good one.
I mean, I just think that they remember they were 0-2 last year, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Same thing, and it's just a matter of they're working their kinks out, kind of like
kind of like
me,
you are,
me with the
yeah.
neck.
Well, they
Yeah,
better get it figured out. They got the Rams coming in this week, and with the way the Rams have played the last couple of weeks, I don't think that's a trap game for the Rams at all.
No.
But in any case, the Bengals better turn it around. I think they're just. You're right, Cap. They can talk about the slow start from year to year, but they look just different this year. They look sluggish. They're not scoring a lot of points. They're dead last with at 27 with Carolina and Las Vegas. So the three teams in the NFL are dead last in points: Carolina, Cincinnati, Las Vegas. Two of those teams are 0-2. Seattle went in Detroit and upset the Lions. I couldn't believe this at all. Somehow the Seahawks pulled it out. It was in overtime. The Lions, man, they had this thing. They could have had this thing. I mean, they had to come back to even get in the game. But then in overtime, just never got a chance to finish it. I could understand this in the way this played out if this was in Seattle, but this is not the kind of thing you want to happen at home to a conference team that later maybe has playoff implications. Guys, come on.
the only thing that's going to hurt them, like you said, is if all shakes out where the Lions need that tiebreaker against the Seahawks, they're going to lose it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so but I think that it was just one of those things where maybe the Lions were coming off more of a high from the win the previous week over the Chiefs in the opener,
yeah.
and you have a natural letdown. But I still foresee the Lions obviously to be the top team in that division. And the Seahawks they're actually surprising people in the
They
fact that
are.
how well they're playing. Yeah, they lost to the Rams the first week, but they played the Rams well that first week, and then you go back and beat the
Yeah,
Trois.
yeah.
Oh shoot, where the hell's Frenchie? I got to get
That's all
Frenchie
right.
out.
You're hurting.
And yeah, so to come back and beat the Trois is a testament to the fact that
You
the
know,
Seahawks are a better team than we think
I
they
agree
are.
with you on that front. The Colts got a division win in Houston. Kansas City turned it around against Jacksonville. We talked about this game last week. We knew Kansas City wasn't going to go 0-2. I
No.
think Kansas City rebounded, but to me, y'all, what happened to Jacksonville? They go to Indianapolis and they scored, I think, 31 points. They got six against Kansas City. What was the score net? Or 17-9
Yeah.
at home. Um, Jacksonville just have a bad day or what?
You can call it a bad day. Nobody really lit up the scoreboard, but
No.
the Chiefs know how to close out, and
Yeah.
Jacksonville is still
Yeah.
that team with, how do we say it, potential.
Yeah. Well, Jacksonville's gonna be looking over their shoulder if the Colts go into Baltimore this week and beat the Ravens. I don't think they will, but in a division that we thought Jacksonville should essentially run away with, they might be looking over their shoulder a little bit. Chicago went into Tampa Bay, got beat by the faux Pirates. No surprise there. Tampa Bay now at 2-0. The Chargers went into Tennessee and played a pretty good one. I got to see most of this game. The the Chargers, man, they've got some struggles. I'm sorry, the Titans got some struggles on offense. If it wasn't for Derrick Henry, I'm not sure that they would have won this game because the Chargers are going to have to play some defense. I think that we'll find a little bit more about the Chargers this week when they go into Minnesota. But the Chargers essentially did what they needed to do, except only played for 58 minutes. So now the Chargers are 0-2, which Raider fans are all happy about, and so is Denver for that matter, right?
Oh yeah.
After getting beat at the very end by Washington, and we'll get to that. But now you got a Chargers team's going to go on the road for the second week in a row into Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who are also 2-0. Something's got to give there. But you got to be, if you're Tennessee, right? You went to New Orleans last week and got beat in a squeaker. This week you go home and you win almost by the same squeaker, 1 point versus 3 points. You got to win against a conference team now. But should we be a little worried about Tennessee?
Uh, I see this is going to be probably Tannehill's last season with that team.
Yeah.
Henry's getting longer in the tooth as he takes all that punishment.
Yeah. And the defense is going to get tired as the season goes on if the team doesn't start scoring some points. I mean, it's a Tennessee team, guys, that's 20th in scoring. And I know we're early in the season, but they're 20th in scoring. But the Chargers are 6th in scoring. So the Chargers are 0-2 and the Titans at 1-1, and the Chargers are, they're putting up a lot of points, which I think is going to create issues for Minnesota. I didn't mean to cut you off there, V. Did you have something else to say about Tennessee?
No problem.
Yeah.
Hey, it's just, they've got to make a change, and they'll probably overhaul that whole team during the offseason.
Yeah.
Well, the unfortunate, or I shouldn't say unfortunate, but the issue there is who's going to play quarterback for Tennessee. Right. They went out and they drafted Willis with our pick. What was it, last year, 2 years ago, whatever. So they picked up Willis. They went and got the other guy, and again, whose name escapes me, who's a decent quarterback. And you got Tannehill. Well, we know Tannehill's not going to be the quarterback, but the question is, who's going to take that spot over in Tennessee between Willis and the other dude whose name I just can't remember? It's problematic for them. Maybe Vrabel might be thinking, man, it's about time I need to go back and maybe I should take that spot in New England once Belichick.
That may be what he's aiming for.
Good angle.
Yeah, maybe what he's aiming for.
Yeah, Will Levis. Thanks, Jerry, and blessings to Jerry Lopez of the South Florida Raider Booster Club. Yeah, Will Levis. They just drafted him this year.
Yeah.
So, what's going on in Tennessee?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. And I think that really, as far as the AFC South is concerned, Jacksonville's, essentially migrating to the top. I think the Titans are migrating down. The only problem is you've got Houston, who's probably not going to win 6 games. And then the Colts, we're kind of not literally the wild card, but in that division, they're kind of a wild card. Again, they can make a statement if they go into Baltimore this week and beat the Ravens. Let's see, where the Giants went into Arizona, went down 20-0 at halftime or something, came back to win the game 31-28. The Cardinals got to be kicking themselves by not being able to put this game away. You guys, I'm close to putting Arizona, in the number 1 draft spot. I know we've already got them on the clock, but
I was just thinking that you're going to say.
I'm just beginning.
They're going on double secret probation or something.
Yeah, maybe
because I know we are.
Maybe, and we'll talk after the break who we should put the clock on this week. I got my suspicions on that one. San Francisco and LA, they played in Los Angeles for a division game. 49ers came away with the win on that one. The 49ers now 2-0 and 1-0 in the division. The Rams want to keep pace there with the surging Seahawks team. They got to go into Cincinnati this week and beat the Bengals. Washington went into Denver and almost gave this one away. Washington led late. Denver got the ball, no timeouts. They get the ball out to the 50-yard line on what I thought was what should have been an incomplete pass. Gives Russell Wilson one more play, throws it down there. It's lands at the 2 or 3 yard line, jump ball. Denver catches it for a touchdown. The only thing that saved them was that they couldn't convert the extra point, the 2 points they needed. They were down by 8. And there was controversy there because it was a lot of people thought that there was DPI in Washington, and I would argue that there probably was. But I'm not going to argue too much about a call going against the Broncos. But man, Washington got away with one, y'all, and they better be ready this week against Buffalo. But we're happy now that Denver is 0-2, right?
Well, you got to admire how Washington has turned that offense around to match what they have on defense.
Yeah,
and as they get more familiar with that system, I think they could be some trouble for people in that NFC East.
Well,
towards the
I
end of the
agree with
season.
you. I agree with you, and the fact that Bieniemy is the OC at Washington, I think gave them a little bit of a game. I know things have changed in Denver, but I just felt like Bieniemy was going to have a little bit of intel on Denver, even if it's about what it's like to play there, the air and the ball, whatever it is. I just felt like that was going to be a factor. That might be a factor again this week, y'all, when Buffalo comes to town. Don't be surprised if Buffalo doesn't win that one. And we'll get into who you're going to pick here in a little bit. But Washington got away with one. So a lot of the NFC East is 2-0. Eagles, Cowboys, Washington, and the Giants are now 1-1. So it's really interesting when you look at the teams that are undefeated in the AFC. What, only Miami and Baltimore?
Right.
So,
but you know, this is still that first quarter of the season. So
I know there's a
stay
lot.
tuned.
I know there's for that part. You're right. Absolutely right. There's a lot of football to be played with regards to that part of it. Somebody put in the chat a comment about Renfro. Cap, make sure we cover that when we get to the Raiders game this week coming up on Sunday night against Pittsburgh. Miami went into New England and beat Coach B. I don't know if Coach B's on the horn for tonight, but you got to like the way the Dolphins took care of business there. They've got a win now in week 1 in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Now they have their second conference win and a win in the division against the Patriots in New England. Miami at 2-0. Coach B, what was the problem there besides your quarterback sucks?
Yeah, well, first off, I did again want to thank Miami for bringing up Trixie and Wanda from the Wild Orchid.
Well, apparently
Club.
it was enough to distract you all from playing any kind of offense whatsoever.
Well, but see, if you looked at the end of the game,
they should have given you the first down. By the way,
thank you. See, that's what I'm saying. That it was scripted. I already paid the guy off. I don't know what happened.
Well, yeah, I don't either.
But the guy did not. The guy did not live up to the money.
That's because your wideout wasn't Walt Coleman. If Walt Coleman had been in that game, you would have gotten the first down.
The issue is that I have some friends named Tony and Vito and Guido that are going to pay him a visit.
Yeah, well, they need to pay him a couple
visits. When you
visits.
pay something off, you expect it to happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm sorry you got the loss at home. You're going to go beat the Jets this week only because Aaron Rodgers isn't there and the Jets aren't scoring any points. But
who?
Yeah, exactly.
Who?
Yeah. But Aaron. But good luck this week taking the bus over to the stadium to play the Jets.
Yeah. Is Fireman Ed going to be there? I just want to sock him as well.
No, I don't know.
Anybody that doesn't. He does not know his ABCs. He only knows 4 letters.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know 4 of them too.
But I know another 4 letters, and there's another, but I use one of them twice at the end, so it's really 5.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, you should have had the first down. That was the first down. And in all actuality, guys, the reason that bugged me was because they didn't even measure. Yeah. When you're in a game like that and you've got a situation where you can't go to replay and decide if that's a first down. What have we said time and time again? You can't officiate from the video. You have to be on the field. You got a line judge down there who marked the spot. It's close. I get it. That's why you have a chains. Bring the damn chains out and measure first down. But they didn't do it.
Again,
it cost you the ball game, maybe.
They're going to make a trip to his house. I'm not saying anything's going to happen.
Yeah. No, I get it.
But they're gonna make a trip to his
Okay.
house. That's all I'm
All right.
saying. He said next time
All right.
you need to do what you were paid to do.
Copy
That's
that.
all I'm saying.
Thanks, Coach. We're going to finish up week 2, and then when we go to the break, we'll have a trivia question for y'all. We're going to give away a T-shirt tonight. The Saints went into Carolina, beat the Panthers. I was really hoping that the Panthers might actually show up for this one and play a decent ball game. They didn't. Um, and they're as a result of that, like I said, they're tied for last in scoring. But it only took 20 points for the Saints to beat a division team on the road. So the Saints are now 2-0, and the Saints are going to Green Bay. So that part might
Saints
be
are
over.
marching in.
Yeah, things might.
And when the
Yeah,
Saints
yeah, things might
are
not be.
marching
I don't
in,
think the Saints are going to be
oh,
three
when
and
the
zero. Let's put it
Saints
that way.
are
Cleveland
marching in.
went into Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, it better not be 3-0, or all the car haters will be coming on through. Hey,
Get your parking pass for the car.
hey.
Cleveland went into Pittsburgh, and yeah, they essentially gave it away. With the what Pittsburgh had, what, at least 2 defensive touchdowns in this game. I think a pick
Two of
six
them.
right off the
Yeah.
bat. So what
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
learned in this game is that Pittsburgh's not as good as they think they are. Cleveland might be as bad as we think they are. But I think, to me, the bigger issue here is Deshaun Watson's not going to win you any Super Bowls.
Yeah, he definitely looked. I would even say rusty now because he's had enough time to lube
That's
up.
right. He does
And
not look like the same guy that we saw in Houston.
no, he does not. And like I say, as far as Pittsburgh is concerned, their defense carried the day. I was looking for more from that run game,
Yeah, I know, right?
but they, you know what? I hope they play the same way
Well,
Sunday night.
exactly. Yeah, and here's the thing, you guys, is that not only did um, Cleveland, after beating Cincinnati in Week 1, not only did they go to Pittsburgh and get beat, so they've lost a game within the division, but they also
Right,
lost part of their offense with Chubb. And they can, and we were talking about it in the green room prior, that I think they did sign somebody. They can sign whoever they want to at this point. But I won't say it's over for Cleveland, but that's only because the Bengals are 0-2. That's the only
right.
reason why I'm saying the Bengals are 1-1. I would essentially, put the elf in the coffin at this point. I know it's still early, but I just don't like where Cleveland's going at this point.
And there's something funky with their offense. Like I said, Jackson was very disappointing to me. After being off
Yeah.
all that time, I don't think it's just rust. Something else is going on. But they look kind of lethargic.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember they were like a firepower
Mm-hmm.
last season.
Mm-hmm.
So
So Cleveland is 17th in scoring. Tennessee's coming in this week. Tennessee is 20th in scoring. So we've got,
mm,
I think Cleveland has essentially the edge, maybe in the passing game on offense. Tennessee has the edge in the rushing game. So it's really going to come down to field position, and if Tennessee can get up enough points to make Derrick Henry a factor. I think the two defenses could make this a
low
13 to
scoring,
12 ball game.
yes,
You
one of
know,
those low
so
scoring.
I'd put it out to the chat group as to who they think has the better special teams. Let's see, Giants Chronicles.
Say,
Before the game starts, I just want to say that I'm not going into.
expect
Oh, we're talking about the Giants going into San Francisco. You
Yeah.
know what? If they play with the heart, Arizona defense is decent. If they play with the heart that they played last week, they might give San Francisco all they want for 3 quarters. I just think that if the 49ers go into the fourth quarter with the lead, that might be
right.
tall. Might be a tall order for the Giants to have played another road game. I know they're still on the West Coast, so travel isn't a factor, but on a short week.
And without Saquon,
Ah, good point. I forgot about that. That could be problematic.
he's out.
That
He's
could
out
be
with that
problematic.
ankle. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
that's a bummer, man.
I will say I will give Gabe credit because again, like for example, last week when I said that I didn't think the Raiders were going to win in Buffalo because I didn't expect Allen to have 2 crappy games in a row.
Yeah.
Gabe at least says that you know I don't expect to win tonight. So I mean, if they do win, it'll be something that he can be giddy about. But the fact
Right.
is, he reads what's going on and he's honest about it. So
Yeah, no, I totally
positive.
agree. I absolutely respect a lot of what he has to say. I would think it would be quite the thing for them to go in there and beat 49ers at in San Francisco without Barkley. Anything can happen. I just think it's a tall order to be gone for 2 weeks. try to play on a short week. Technically, the 49ers were gone last week, but they were in LA. So it was a short trip
Right.
home for them from that standpoint. But I'm looking forward to a good one. I hope the Giants can keep it competitive, and that would be fun. At least make it a decent Thursday night game. We're going to take a
Absolutely.
quick break, come back, talk about week 3. Before we go to the break, we have a trivia question for you. And it's a Raiders trivia question, so I apologize if you're not a Raiders fan. But in 1978, the Raiders were involved in a game against the Chargers called the Holy Roller. Stabler allegedly fumbled. I think the video now would prove otherwise, but Stabler essentially fumbled. Ball when it gets into the end zone, covered for a touchdown. We beat the Chargers. We get the heck out of there. For now, which we have the fourth down fumble inside of 2 minutes rule,
Yeah.
because, you know,
Thanks, us.
yeah, thanks to us, I guess. But when Stabler fumbled, the ball got into the end zone, was covered by Dave Casper for the touchdown. But between Stabler's fumble and Casper getting his hands on the ball was touched by another Raider player who helped to get it to the end zone. Who was that player? We'll be right back in a minute.
Gotcha.
What's up, fam? It's your boy Violator, just coming to you again to give you a personal testimony on these fantastic Fitline products that I've been using for a couple of years. And you've seen me on my quest to bring that body weight down, get back in shape like I used to be. And this is my secret weapon. These two products right here, Power Cocktail and Restaurant, my daytime and nighttime formula. At Fitline, we call them our optimal set. And baby, let me tell you, one in the morning, one before bed at night, and you let them do their thing. Trust me, these are some fantastic products if you're serious about getting your body where it needs to be, just improving your health overall.
Yeah, welcome back to NFL Nation Live. We've covered week 2. We'll get you ready for week 3. The answer to our trivia question is indeed Pete Banaszak. And I think, Cap, you said we have a winner?
Yep,
Yeah.
Jerry Lopez.
Jerry
All right.
Lopez. Yep.
So, Wayne, do you have Jerry's information or no?
No, he can send it to
Okay.
NFL
So,
Nation Live.
yeah. So, Jerry, congratulations on your win. What I want you to do, Jerry, is send your shipping information, include your name, address, city, state, and zip code to NFLNationLive@gmail.com. I'll forward that information over to the Hall of Famer, and he will send you out a T-shirt. Also, if you have a preference on your T-shirt size, go ahead and send that. Send us a choice 1, choice 2, like extra large, or 2X or 2X, 3X, whatever, because I'm not sure what our inventory is exactly. So send us your preferred size, and then maybe a second choice for size, and we'll get you a T-shirt.
I know that it's going to say Davie, Florida. I don't remember everything in front of that, but it's going to be
okay.
Jerry Lopez,
Okay.
Upty Flats address, Davie,
Gotcha.
Florida. And
Perfect.
so that's what it is.
Well, that's a good start. Appreciate that. Okay. Well, thanks, Jerry. Congratulations on the win. Send your shipping information to NFLNationLive@gmail.com. I will forward that over to Violator, and he will send you your NFL Nation Live T-shirt. All right, let's get ready for week 3. The Giants are going to go in San Francisco, take on the 49ers. It's a game we expect the 49ers to win. What do the Giants have to do, guys, to keep the 49ers off the scoreboard?
Knock Purdy out of the game, but I got the Niners at home in a runaway.
Question was I a Raiders fan when I was an NFL ref? Officially, no.
Good answer.
Officially, no.
Good answer. Good
Officially,
answer.
no.
Officially, no.
Actually, they don't really penalize officials for being fans of the game or any fan specific or a fan of any team in particular. However, if you identify with a team, and in my case, it was obvious before I even got there that I've been a Raiders fan since 1967, that they're going to put some restrictions on you because of that. that you already have contracts that dictate what you can do or not do during the season outside of your 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 uniform badge wearing duties. They restrict your social media. They restrict your access to other media. But if you are in an NFL city, for example, like I can be a Raiders fan in Southern California, but is that really an issue? Yes, it means that I'm probably not going to work any Raiders games.
Right.
If I do work a Raiders game, it's not going to be in Las Vegas. But say for an example, for an official, there's been exceptions. We all know that might carry might carry. But if you live in say Chicago or Chicago suburbs, you will not work a Bears game unless you and the Bears also go to the Super Bowl, because prior to the Super Bowl in the playoffs, there's some other game they could send you to if you're a playoff worthy official.
Right.
But if you're an official in the Chicago metro area, that you will not work a Bears game unless you and the Bears should happen to go to the Super Bowl, and you will be under quite a bit of scrutiny if that happens. So most officials try to avoid that situation. They don't want even the appearance of any conflict of interest. But I won't say it's never happened, because it has. Generally, it's by accident or by stupidity. But generally, the NFL tries to not have any funny stuff going on there with regards to whether or not you're a fan. You can be a fan. Keep in mind though, a lot of the officials that are in the game now never played the game. A lot of them did. Um, some of them didn't, but if they did, it was only until high school. Didn't really play major college. I think there's what, three officials that were former players. Okay, so there's another element to this whole thing. It's like, well, what games are they working or not working? So it's something that you have to deal with. It's something that if you're a good official, you want to stay away from. But it's also that if you're a good official and your heart's in the right place and you get the street cred, the NFL is going to know that you really don't care who wins. When you get to that point, then I think you've reached um, one of the ethical standards that is really hard to come by in a time when you can say, I can go officiate this game and I don't care who wins.
Except for, and I think we've tried to do this before. There was a dude who was a white hat, and he always seemed to work the Raiders Chiefs game, and he lived in misery. Okay, and he
Mhm.
was a fan, and we always seemed to draw. This was obviously in the, I want to say in the, maybe in the 90s, early aughts, but we always seemed to draw him as the referee for the Raiders at Kansas City, and he was a damn Chiefs fan that
Yep.
lived in misery, and I can't remember his name, but we always seemed to draw him, and it was like, oh my God, we got the Homer that's going to be our white hat for this game.
Was it Red Cashin?
It could have been red, um, but yeah,
It might have been Red Cashin.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, not one of my favorites. Indianapolis going to go into Baltimore, so the old Colts are going to play the new Ravens, right?
Hmm.
If you deal with all the history of it, this is a game Baltimore better be ready to play, y'all. Indianapolis is 12th in scoring. Baltimore's 10th in scoring. Baltimore. The Colts, I think, are playing pretty good defense, probably better defense than the Ravens. I think it's a total trap game for the Ravens if they don't show up for this one. What do you guys think?
Well, they'll probably get plucked by the fans if they lose this one. Right now,
They're 2-0.
Richardson is in
Concussion protocol.
concussion protocol,
Yeah,
so
that's
who
a
knows?
problem. Yeah.
One good hit, he may be out of there.
Well, and somebody said this week I saw Minshew is starting. Who's he starting for?
Yes,
Is that Indianapolis or?
he's a
Yeah.
backup. Yeah,
Oh,
Minshew's a backup.
Minshew's
Yeah,
oh.
yeah,
Yeah, the porn stash is the
yeah.
backup in Indianapolis.
That's right.
Well, if Richardson, I mean, I know it's a tall order for the Colts to go into Baltimore and beat the Ravens, but the Colts have showed up in the two games that they played. They gave
Right.
Jacksonville. I know it's week one. Everybody's still trying to figure out where the jock straps are, but they got 21 against Jacksonville at home. They almost got away with that. They went down to Houston,
Wow.
took care of business there with an 11-point win over to Texas. So they're scoring points. This is the Ravens team that's struggling a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if Richardson doesn't play, maybe that's not a thing. I think the bigger issue here, guys, for the Colts is they still don't have Taylor, right?
You're right, absolutely. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Putting up points is going to be a premium when they're in Baltimore.
no doubt, no doubt.
I just got a news flash. The Cowboys just lost that
Diggs,
Diggs
yep,
with an ACL. Man,
ACL
it's
tear. Yeah, they're going
wow.
into Arizona to play the Cardinals, which they could have won that game. They can win that game without him, but I
Yeah,
think the bigger issue here is that they've still got a bunch of division games that they got to play, and pretty, in fact, almost all of them except the second one against the Giants.
right.
That's a big loss on your defense,
Yes, it
for
is because
sure.
that kid was definitely a blue chipper
Well, and then to lose them in practice, I mean, you don't want to lose
in
these guys.
practice.
You don't want to lose these guys in any element, whether it's a game, the locker room, near the water cooler, whatever. We hate to see these guys get hurt because we want to see the best play against the best. But to lose somebody in practice like that, it just bites.
Man, we talking about practice, not a game,
Right.
not a game,
Practice.
practice.
But
Practice. Tennessee.
not to harp on that. But I've heard from several former players that that's we say the league is soft right now. That's what we're seeing with all these injuries. They're not in football condition because they don't hit each other.
Yeah, the Giants Chronicle. That's what happens when you over physical one-on-ones in practice. Well, yeah, I don't know what the circumstances were that took place, but I think the larger point there, y'all, is that's what the union has bargained for in the CBA
Right.
is to organize and structure these practices, off-season workouts, mandatory this and that, to try to preserve.
Their commodity.
Because I think the players have gotten better, smarter. They know how to manage their own. Right. In the back in the day, when you had to work for 6 months, you came in. Yeah, we had 6 weeks of preseason because nobody could run around the football field without
Yeah.
passing out. So the fact that the times have changed, I think that's good. But yeah, okay. So he's saying NFL Network's reporting it happened during one-on-one. Well, okay.
Wow.
If that's what they reported, it's probably true. Tennessee going to go into Cleveland and take on the Browns. These are two teams with two really good defenses. I think the key here for Tennessee is they're going to have to get a lead, keep it so that Henry's a factor. They can't say the same about Cleveland because Chubb is gone. So I
Right.
think really the issue here is if Cleveland's going to win this thing, it's going to be on Deshaun Watson's shoulders to do this. If we get to Deshaun Watson in week 1 against Cincinnati, maybe not so much if we get to Deshaun Watson in week 2 against Pittsburgh. What gives here, guys? I really don't know what to do with this one, but I think the issue here is that because of the structure of the AFC South, this game means more to Cleveland than Tennessee in my book.
It definitely does, and I see Cleveland circling the wagon, so to speak, pulling this thing out because I don't see the Titans even keeping up with them point wise
They would,
in this one.
you'd think not. Yeah,
Yeah,
you would think not. Um,
I don't know. I actually think that if you use Henry and Brown, and again, I don't know the status of Brown. Granted,
that's
Tannehill's not the greatest quarterback, but if you have
but
Henry and Brown doing things together, the Tennessee defense is not as good as the Browns defense, but at least they can score.
that's
And
right.
I,
And
and I don't think that the Browns can score consistently with was it Stefanski as their coach?
yeah, I totally agree with you, Cap. But I think the key thing on what you said there is AJ Brown. I don't know if he's
yeah,
going to play or if he's ready to play, healthy enough to play. But you're absolutely right. If he shows up, that could be 14 points right there.
And remember,
Uh,
they also
and
picked up D Hop because D Hop's over in Tennessee as well.
yeah,
yeah.
I think D Hop
He
is
hadn't
off.
look he hadn't looked good though, Cap.
No, he
He hadn't
hasn't.
looked
But
good.
you're right. And I think the bigger issue for Tennessee, in addition to those two guys being healthy or not healthy or playing, not playing, welcome to the show, Ed, is that if they had
What's
those
up,
two
Ed?
guys and a decent tight end along with Henry, Tennessee would be a lot more difficult to deal with. But
Yeah,
Tannehill does not look like himself, and I think it's just because he doesn't have enough or the right targets to throw to, and I think it could cost him. But you're right, Cap. Tennessee can put up the points seemingly when they put up 27 against the Chargers. Now the Chargers defense may not be anywhere near where the Browns are, but now the Browns are without Chubb. And now the Titans don't have to put 7 or 8 guys in the box,
Right.
so to speak, to stop the running game. I just don't know if they can handle it for 4 quarters. So that'll be an interesting one. Again, I still think it means more to Cleveland because they're trying to keep pace within their division. And I just don't
Absolutely.
think, even with a Tennessee win, I just don't think Tennessee will get enough wins to make it a factor. But a loss by Cleveland, I think, hurts a lot. The 2-0 Falcons going to go into Michigan to take on the 1-1 Lions after they got beat at home by Seattle. Do you like the Falcons on the road? Falcons overrated. The Lions going to be pissed off, and now they're going to just eat the birds for lunch. What's going to happen there? I think the Falcons are going to give the Lions all they want.
Well, they're going to Detroit.
That's right.
We
They're going to
will
the top.
win. We will win. We will come back. We will have some beignets. We will have a bunch of crepes Suzette. We will have everything French to eat, and we're going to have a victory, la victorion for the Detroit on the Francois and all the other bullshit I can say in this French accent. Detroit is going to win. I don't even know who the other team is, but we're going to win. We're going to win this game.
Well, they're the big blackbirds with wings.
I got your dirty belts right here.
Yeah, okay. So if you have fries, they're going to be French too.
Yeah, but we'll have frog legs. You are afraid like chicken.
Okay.
Eat like chicken. And we're going to have escargot. We're going to have all the spread. It's going to be very, very good for all of us, because remember, we're going to have French whores there too. You can't get better than French prostitutes. We're going to book them in from Paris. It's going to be a field day. It's going to be great.
Well, I still think the Lions are going to get all they want. V, who do you like in this game? I would have taken if Detroit had beaten Seattle last week, I would have put Detroit in there fairly easily, because they would be 2-0. But after that loss last week, you just kind of wonder, did Jeff Goff have the hold of this thing? They're getting the Falcons now when they're like super hot. They've beaten the Packers at home now. Come on.
Well, I'm taking Detroit in this one to make mincemeat pie out of the dirty birds.
Okay.
And, the defense is going to carry this game for Detroit.
I hope that's true. I'll tell you what, though, if Atlanta comes away with the win, there's going to be a bunch of uh-ohs going on in the NFC.
Yeah.
Goff, Ritter, come on, Goff.
I know. I know.
Ritter's no pushover though.
I get it, but he's only in his second year, and it's like Goff is somebody that can actually that offense. They imported. They got rid of the kid from Philly. He went back to the Eagles. Can't remember his name, but they got a decent amount of some good players going there, and their defense.
Especially the defensive line. Yeah. And I agree with you on that front. If Atlanta's not ready for the matchups and the experience that Detroit has, I think the Falcons are in trouble.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to, as Al Davis would say, they're going to have to throw it over the wall if they want to win that.
Pretty much.
The Saints are going to go into Green Bay and get beat by the Packers. Anybody have any comment on that one? I don't even think that's going to be a game for the Saints, but
no argument. I see Green Bay at home. They should take care of the Saints.
Jacksonville with their second game in 2 weeks at home. This time it's Houston coming in. This is a trap game for Jacksonville. I mean, Houston, I think on any given Sunday, if you're not ready to play, you're going to get beat by somebody. I think the problem with Jacksonville is that we saw their 31 points against Indianapolis, who's decent, and then they get, 9 against the Chiefs. I think Jacksonville wins this, but they need the division win at home, because that'd make them 2 up in the division, 2-1 overall, but 2 up in the division for their 2 wins. So I think it means a lot for Jacksonville to get this one at home. When they go to Houston next, maybe that's a different story. But I like the Jags at home. Cap,
I got Jags at home also, guys.
I got the long-haired hippie and his team.
Got it. Yeah. The 0-2. The 0-2. I'll say it again. The 0-2. 0-2. Denver Broncos. Going to go into Miami and get their ass handed to them by the Dolphins. I don't really see any way Denver wins this game unless Dolphins don't even start their starters. I mean, how does Denver even come close to winning this game? I mean,
And
Miami, guys, is number 3 in scoring. Okay, 60 points they put up. They're number 3 behind Dallas and Green Bay. Denver is 15th with 49 points. I think Denver's going to go 0-3. I think they're going to go maybe 0. And where's Denver go next? Denver, they go to Miami, then they go to Chicago, then they are at home play the Jets. They probably beat the Jets, but I could see Denver going 0-5 before they even fart next. I mean,
definitely 0-4. I'm taking the track team in this one, the Miami Dolphins. And there's a little bulletin board material that kind of surfaced to the top about
oh,
Tua
really?
and Sean Payton. Well, some comments Sean made when he was, in his suit and
Oh,
tie.
right, right.
Yeah, so they're not talking about it, but it came to the surface, and you know damn well Miami's got it front and center.
Uh, Ed says Russell 2 weeks from being benched. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Oh,
I wouldn't disagree.
wow.
I wouldn't
Not at
disagree with
all.
that at all. Here's the thing though is that Amy Trask says you can fire your head coach, but then and do what, right?
Right, right.
So they could bench Wilson, but then and do what? I wouldn't be surprised if they do. If they do that, Russell Wilson's done. Otherwise, they're going to maybe stick with him long enough to try to prop up this Burning Man structure that's eventually going to collapse anyway. But so I agree with that he could get benched, but I don't know how that really helps them this year. But I think this year's a wash anyway. Um, so I'm not really sure how that plays out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to do that. Then they have decided essentially they're going to cut bait. They're going to go after somebody in the draft and try to make it work. But Russell Wilson hasn't been right since he left Seattle, which ought to tell you probably the reasons why
He's
Jerry,
gone.
Denver, why he
yeah,
left Seattle.
Jerry
Jerry says
Loper,
Denver in the
right?
upset.
And I'm
Yeah, I
I'm
saw
gonna
that.
Jerry, I love you, but that is because Jerry lives in Davie.
Oh, that's fine.
All of the people he has to associate with are friggin' Fish fans that are the worst fan. It's kind of like me living in fake pirate land.
Ugh.
You have to just cringe every time that team win, and the fake Pirates are 2-0, and I'm cringing
Well,
walking out the door.
yeah,
So I get it from Jerry. I love you, brother, but no, Denver's not winning.
I don't see how they do. I don't see how they do win. Um, they couldn't beat Washington at home, which is a game they could have won.
Yeah.
Although I still think Bieniemy gets some credit there. Maybe not, but that's just me. Um, yeah, I don't. I think that'd be maybe not the biggest upset since Super Bowl III, but it'd be close. Let's see. The 0-2 Chargers going to go into Minnesota, take on the 0-2 Purple Peeps. Man, the Vikings ship is on fire, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers just actually finish it off. Vikings go 0-3. I think we could put them on the clock, even though they wouldn't have any losses within the division because they lost to Tampa. Now, I know they have conference losses against Tampa Bay
Right.
and Philadelphia, but to be 0-3 with no losses in the division is not like the Cincinnati Bengals, right, who are 0-2 in their division and maybe end up 0-3 if they lose to the Rams. So a little bit different, but not so much because I just don't think Minnesota seems ready to play. I like the Chargers being able to score some points in that game. I know it's their second road game in 2 weeks after a heartbreaking loss, if you will,
Yeah.
to the Titans in Tennessee. But if they're as pissed off as the head coach says they are, I think the Vikings. I don't know. Maybe they're going to run out of juice in that one. What do you think?
I got the Chargers in this one. Even with Eckler being banged up too, with an ankle, I see them going in there and taking care of Kurt and the boys.
Ed's putting in his 2 week notice for everybody, man. He's giving Russell Wilson
Uh,
2 weeks. He just
oh,
said
stay.
Staley is 2 weeks away from being fired. Staley he's talking about the uh, head coach of the
Head coach.
Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Chargers, so they have Minnesota, then they go home to play Las Vegas before their bye. So he could be right. If they go to Minnesota and get beat, I'm not so sure they will. They go to Las Vegas, even though that's technically a home
A
game.
home
It's
game.
not
Yeah.
really a home game. They get beat with
Right.
that one. Then they have a bye in week 5. If the Chargers are going to make any moves this week, that's probably when they do it, right?
Yeah, and again, pardon me. I'm not giving everybody the Italian fu. I'm still
Yeah.
trying to work.
Yeah, he's
I'm
trying to
still,
work some kinks out of the old
and
shoulder. I get it.
it ain't working.
Yeah, I'm
And it,
sorry. Well, I'm sorry you're hurting, Cap. That's
oh
that's
my
that's a
God.
tough one. But
muscle relaxers and time. That's all.
Yeah,
you're a tough guy. You're a Raider man, so I know you can. You'll
yeah.
figure it out. If you were somebody else's fan, I'd say just hang the towel and just throw it now. But I guess
Not Cap.
Raider or Steeler fan, you should be able to tough it out. Um, but
I'm playing hurt, but I'm playing.
there you go. New England going to go into New York and beat the Jets. So this is a game that everybody's looking forward to when Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. But now that we're back to, quote, the same old Jets, I think, Coach, you're just going to dust off the game plan you used last year and go out there and win 17-19 or something.
It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be something that people remark about how fantastic it is. But the bottom line is the green people are going to look green, even though they're wearing white. I don't give a crap what color uniform that they're wearing. They're going to look awful, like the piss green that they are.
Okay.
Coach Belichick, the number one coach
Yeah.
in the offense. I don't.
But
Shula can bite my nads.
I know, but
Okay.
Coach,
may he rest in peace, but still biting my nads.
I got to tell you though, they gave you your favorite referee,
Yeah.
Bill Vinovich. You hate that guy, man.
It's a walk.
That guy has been a pain in your ass for quite a while now.
Well, like I
he's
said,
Mr. No Chippy.
I don't care. I don't care.
You might
Vinovich,
after Sunday.
Elaine Brockovich, the chick out in California with the fighting for the EPA, PSA, or Pacific Gas and Electric PGE. I don't give a crap.
Okay.
They're coming in
All right.
to play the coach.
I'm just saying, of all the refs you could have gotten,
well, okay.
Mr. No Chippy is
Coleman
not going
wasn't
to take
available.
any crap. Okay.
Coleman wasn't available, so I'm just saying. Okay.
But you got a rookie line judge, so give him hell in the first half, okay?
Again, they know better. They know better. They know, first off, they know not to catch me after my nap. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they give now I'm going to be a little ornery because I'm not going to have had
Again?
a Trixie wash
Big surprise.
of my scrotum, prior to the game. So all things being equal, it's going to be ugly to whichever official is right near me that I'm going to get a piece of. Which is why, by the way, I learned something. I was wondering why the officials kept switching, at the half, because I was like, why? I was just getting into this guy.
Yeah,
and then
see,
all of a
that's why,
sudden,
because they're tired of you being in
switch.
their ear the whole game.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't understand that. I want this guy. I want to get in this ass for a whole game.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
not going to happen.
Officials on me.
And I was really surprised you didn't tear a rotator cuff the way you slammed that flag into the ground.
I know that's
man.
right. Yeah,
I thought you think
I'm tearing a rotator cuff right now.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised with the way you threw that thing into the ground. I think there's a divot in the grass now.
Don't even go there. But again, the great one wins. Fireman Ed, he can bite my nads too, because this is Coach Bell. I'm going to go back to my nap, guys. So
okay,
you guys, it's always fun talking to you.
Yeah, we'll look forward to talking to you about your win next week.
That's right.
Buffalo going to go into Washington to take on the Commodores. I think it's a huge trap game for Buffalo. Eric Bieniemy, being the OC, is going to know a little bit about how to beat Buffalo. It doesn't mean he's got the talent to do it, but I think he'll have a hell of a game plan. I wouldn't be surprised if Washington wins this, guys. I know Buffalo's going to be favored. I know they're the football pick, but they're on the road, going to go to Washington. Washington is no pushover. I think Buffalo wins it, but man, it's a total trap game for the Bills. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got the Bills in this one, but not by much. They escape with a win.
23-20?
Yeah, I think Washington is going to give them all they can handle.
Yeah, Ed said it. Washington could upset. I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. That's really something when you have to go upset when you're playing at home.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But
it's we've been in that situation too.
and we might still be. Panthers going to go into Seattle and get beat by the Seahawks. I don't really see Carolina winning this one. I thought one
Machine
of their
gun, baby.
yeah, I
That's
thought
it.
one
The
of Carolina's
Commodore, baby.
better
Machine
chances
gun.
to win would have been last week at home against the Saints and a team I'm not
Yeah.
sold on. They couldn't get that done. They're not going to go into Seattle and beat a team that went on the road, beat Detroit by
Nah.
6 points in overtime. So I like to see
Actually, that
chickens
felt
at
good.
home.
That felt
Yeah,
good.
yeah. See, maybe you should keep doing that.
See, keep
Yeah.
dancing, baby.
Did you hear Machine Gun?
I heard it. I
Sort
could
of.
hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay,
got the bullet
as long
holes
as
back here.
yeah, boo, boom, boom, boom. You know,
That's it.
as long as you heard that's
Yeah.
the backbeat, and
But
yeah,
hey, Cap, we're spotting ourselves too. There's some people younger than us on here that
they don't
Yeah,
get it.
like me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any idea what you're talking about.
Okay, all right.
Like
Where's my flag? Hold on.
right. Totally uncatchable.
Yeah,
There you
there you
go,
go. Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Yeah.
I can't throw
Where
anything. I
where's
can't
my
throw anything
challenge
against
flag?
point.
Where's my
No, no,
challenge
no,
flag?
no.
You
Yeah.
challenged that one, but we've got a
Yeah.
license, a driver's license somewhere.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
Dallas going to go into Arizona and take on the Cardinals. I think Dallas is going to get tested this week. They did it really in weeks 1 or week 2. Giants weren't ready to play. Then they had the Jets in week 2 at home. They're going to go into Arizona and play a pretty decent Arizona defense. Again, that's a defense that should be good, but then turned around, gave up 31 unanswered points essentially to the Giants. So I think Dallas wins this, and I know that Diggs is on.
All right.
Is gone now after the news that came out of Cowboys camp today that he tore his ACL apparently on one-on-ones in practice. However, he did it really doesn't matter. Could have stepped in a gopher hole, but so that's a loss for the Cowboys. I think that they'll still get it done, but Dallas may need all they've got this week, right? I mean, they're leading the NFL in points. Number one was 70. Remember now they scored 40 of those against the Giants
That's right.
in week 1. Arizona in scoring is at 19th, so they're playing a team that isn't scoring a lot of points. So I think Dallas comes away with the win, but it could be a defensive struggle. Or it could be an offensive struggle for Dallas starting out against that Cardinal defense, and then I think eventually just wear them out, right? After 60 minutes.
I got
That's
the yeehaws. Yeehaw!
I
How
got the,
about them cowgirls?
I got them boys. I got them boys and a laugher.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
See,
Yeah,
he's
I
got
don't
that
think
machine gun. I saw
Yeah, I
that.
don't think it'll be close, but I think Dallas will struggle in the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals accidentally go up 7-0, 10-0, something like that. But I think Dallas will come back. I think the game will be won by Dallas in the second half. Is what I'm saying. Chicago going to go to Kansas City, get beat by the Chiefs, so we won't get any help there. I don't think we'll get any help against Minnesota, although we probably will get some help against Miami. But again, Denver goes 0-3. They're going to start fading away a little bit. But that assumes that we can win on Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Las Vegas, the home opener for the Raiders. V, I know you're going. Cappy, you're going.
Yeah.
What are we looking for? We got a Steelers team that we don't really know yet. They're not scoring a lot of points, but neither are we. The defense won the game last week against Cleveland, but Cleveland gave it up. I don't think we make the mistakes that Cleveland made last week that gave the Steelers the win over Cleveland. This is pretty evenly matched, but our offense is going to have to do better than they did last week because 10 points in this game's not going to win it.
You talking about two teams neither of us know. There they are right there. Sunday night.
Yeah.
I'm taking us only because we're at home. And that'll be a close one to boot.
Well, the offensive line is going to have to do better than they've done. I'm concerned about the matchups with TJ Watt.
TJ, yeah.
And I mean the Steelers
Illuminor.
defense, the Steelers defense is an ugly matchup for our offense. And I think the other thing that I wanted to get out here that came up earlier in the chat was where's Hunter Renfrow? Where's the tight end? Where's this passing offense that we talked about during the whole offseason?
Right.
And we're last in scoring. I don't understand what's going on here. Something's messed up.
Well, the offensive line, it's weird because the offensive line has actually done well on pass blocking, and I think that as long as they do decent against Watt and Ogunjubu, I think is the
Ogajuba
guy.
or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they'll be. But to see the Steelers are susceptible to the run, and this is the game that the O line needs to put it together and get the run game going. If the run game gets going for the Raiders, it's going to
Yeah.
negate the pass rush because they're going to have to stick around and not go
Yes,
in and
sir.
go up as far. And if that happens, then that just feeds the fact that Garoppolo can actually find the short to intermediate routes. To whom? And that's the question. To whom? Because we were going to bring up Hunter
The
Renfro.
Renfro, right?
As
One
far
catch.
as the other receivers, Myers was practicing, and Devontae was practicing. So we should have our top two receivers there. The question is, and people have been asking me about it, and I said if Renfro doesn't participate, and this was last week, I said to me that is a mark that he's going to
Trade.
be traded at or before the trade deadline as
That's what it,
somebody that needs a
To
receiver.
who
I
for
really
what? I,
well we
hopefully a D tackle.
thank you. Yeah, I was going to say I heard Bilal Nichols' name one time in Buffalo. I don't know.
Wow.
One time I heard his name. I'm like, oh, that's right, he is on the team because I hadn't heard his name at all since then or before then. So I heard it once. I know he had at least one tackle. That's it. So we need help on the D tackle range. I think that, like I said, the kids that we do have, with Young and the one guy that we kept. I can't. We got rid of one that we traded him to Kansas City, but the other guy that we kept, who's a young, and they need to start showing their worth. Tillery, I,
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
not the greatest, but he's just hanging on. We need that push from the D tackle. So if we can trade or get rid of Renfro to a team that actually might have a glut in the defensive tackle position, I see that as a one for one immediate.
One for one. Yeah.
well, I think that all that sounds really good, but I have one reason why we're not going to win this game.
I know. I know.
We have the absolute
Oh, yeah.
worst officiating crew you could possibly ask for coming in this game.
Other than Hussey, I thought Hussey was the man. The worst division.
Well, as far as overall referees go, yes, but I'm talking about the crew as a whole.
Okay.
We got Trey Blake, Tony Mahalik, David Gallagher.
Oh, Mahalik.
Wow. Yeah, Mahalik. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you said Mahalik, I said, yeah, we're effed. Okay.
So you can kiss this game goodbye. I mean, we've got the special teams. I like Ed's comment, Raiders 24-21. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we've
That's
got the special teams to make field position and time of possession a thing. If we can do that, we can win regardless of what the Zebras do. But if we go out there and can't do those two things, the Zebras are going to take the game away. Absolutely take the game away. So I think next week we're going to be talking about, we're always talking about the holes that Crosby doesn't get.
yeah. Yeah.
But with that crew, sorry.
Let's see
We're
what the
going to get him eventually. So you can get him in Kansas City. You can get him somewhere else. But the home opener, Las Vegas.
and the
I don't. I
prime
mean,
time.
my cat doesn't leave stink bombs like we're going to see on Sunday night. I'm sorry, but
So it's going to be another 11-on-22 game.
at
Yeah,
least,
there you go. There
at
you
least,
go.
no, it's more than that because you got the replay folks in New York. So
Well, I thought I counted them.
45 to 6:27. Yeah.
Well, how many are on the field? Was like 10, right?
Well, there's 7 officials on the field, right?
And then you get the
Then you have
replay guys.
the auxiliary folks. You got the chain crew and
That's
people like
28.
spotters and all that. But
Yeah.
then you got the 3 or 4 or 5 whatever people in New York.
Yeah. Well, that's what okay. So
11 against 30.
Yeah.
Say.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Good luck with that.
I don't like those odds.
Oh, yeah, I don't either.
We
what
got to
is
win.
what
We
is
got to win in spite of them. Like I said, we
that's what
just
I'm
Yeah.
saying. If
yeah.
we do time of possession and field position, we can win this game. The Steelers aren't putting enough points. So that's where we're going to win this game
Yeah.
because you can't officiate that. You can't screw somebody with flags on time of possession and special teams. If you can win the field position game and time of possession game, no turnovers, they can't hurt you. These guys can't hurt you. If you go out there and start slapping people around and all that, then you're going to have all the calls, right? So look at the ones we had um, in week one against Denver. We talked about those in our week one show, right?
Yeah.
Those calls that, I mean, there was the one Russell Wilson one where they had the illegal contact downfield. We exonerated the officials on that. But the one before the half, the DPI call, total
Oh
bogus.
yeah.
So, I
Bull.
mean, you think that was bad. Wait till Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh, they run the right type of plays against our secondary. Could be ugly. Could
Well,
be
we'll
ugly.
see. We'll see what our team's made of because they went there and laid a shit pile in Buffalo.
All by themselves. So
Yeah, by
now you're going to
themselves.
go
Yeah.
home. So you're telling me they're going to go home. They're going to clean all that up and play against the Steelers and
Ah,
the
well,
Zebras. No, sorry, sorry. Ed says trust in the silver and black.
trust. Yeah.
I'll buy you a cheeseburger, Ed, if Raiders pull it out with that crew.
Uh.
Yeah. Philadelphia going to go into Tampa Bay and play the faux Pirates. This is two teams that are 2-0. Something's
Yeah.
got to give here. Baker Mayfield is making a name for himself down in SoFlo. Cap, I know you don't like to hear about Tampa Bay, but you got to give them the football credit for being 2-0. The Eagles, you could argue, have beaten better teams, although they both beaten the same team. But Tampa Bay beat the Vikings in Minnesota. The Eagles beat Minnesota in Philadelphia. So they've each played that team. But the Eagles now I think are starting to get their wings, so to speak. So I think Tampa Bay better be really happy that this game's at home. But I think that the Eagles probably come away with the win on this one.
I got Philly in this one. Yeah. And another close one because, like I say, Baker is making a name for himself and he's got a lot to prove. So that team
He's got a lot to
follows.
prove.
Yeah, that team is following his moxie.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I can't do it as well as my boy Jamie, Philly sports guy, but EAGLES
Yeah.
Eagles.
Yeah. But Tampa Bay is 2-0, but their other game at home was against the Bears.
Right.
So it's kind of like having another bye. So I don't think Tampa Bay is as good as everybody maybe thinks they are. That said, they got the Eagles off. They caught the Eagles on a bad day. They caught the Vikings on a bad day in Minnesota, and then the Eagles caught Minnesota trying to figure out why they had a bad day in Tampa. But I like the Eagles at home. The Rams going to go into Cincinnati. The Rams at 1-1. Going to go into Cincinnati, take on the 0-2 Bengals. This is a must-win game for the Bengals. And guys, we're talking about not only another home game for Cincinnati, we're talking an interconference game, which usually we would say, we would argue on this show doesn't really even matter, so to speak, because it's not within your own conference, it's not within your own division. But the Bengals now are 0-2 in their division with the loss at home. I think this is a huge loss for Cincinnati if they go 0-3, but I think it could be a trap game for the Rams. However, you got to appreciate the way the Rams have played the last 2 weeks. I know they lost at home last week against San Francisco, who's pretty darn good, but they got the win in week one. I think the key for me here is that Joe Burrow just not look right. I know he's been messing with that calf issue, but it seems to be more than that. Something's like, I don't know what's going on there. Not enough caffeine in the coffee, or they switched to decaf or something. But I'm concerned about the Bengals right now.
You said it earlier, Ref. Everybody's got their money. Now they relax.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
It feels like.
Now we know he has a calf deal, and
I know.
we saw him trying to wake it up on the sideline. But I got sense in this one because they're at home. Otherwise, I pick the Rams.
Well, the Rams are just going to have to be looking clear past the Bengals. The Rams then go to Indianapolis after this, so the Rams have two Midwest games on the road. But it's not like they're looking forward to, or not like they're looking past Cincinnati for a division game or an important game. They've got two AFC games on the road, which for the Rams in that division, you could make up somewhere else by beating Arizona twice, by beating Seattle twice,
Gotcha.
by beating San Francisco once. And, they also play Baltimore, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, so there's Chicago. So there's other games that the Rams
They can
can
make up.
pick up even if they lose these two. But I'm with you, V. I like I like the Rams in this one actually, but I just think the Bengals better show up. If they go 0-3, I'm not saying we should put them on the clock, but um, the Bengals then are going to go to Tennessee. They're going to go to Arizona, and then they come home to play Seattle. So this is not a good stretch for the Bengals at all if they go 0-3. Cap, who do you like in this one and why?
I got the Bungles only because I think that
They're in a
they
must-win situation, right?
yeah, pretty much, yeah, and it's the home crowd, and I think the Rams are gonna give them all that they want, and it's gonna come down to at the end it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be a blowout by any stretch. And remember, this is a Super Bowl rematch.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
So they've
Yes,
got
it
a
is.
game. The Bengals have a better game plan for the Rams than the Rams have for Cincinnati, because the Rams have lost players since that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Bengals not as much.
yeah,
Bengals not as much. But
I like
th-
the
this is a Bengals team. Remember that is tied for last place in scoring. Okay, they're playing a Rams team. It's at nine. It's at 9. Rams put up 53 points. Um, so I don't know, but and actually, let me look at one other stat here
What's
before we
up with
go.
that? What's up with that Bungles offense, man?
Yeah, that's the thing, B, because Cincinnati's over under, in other words, points they scored versus points they've given up, is a minus 24. Um, so you got a Rams team now that's ninth in scoring that's coming into a team that's given up far more points um, than they've given up. The Rams aren't heavy, but they're a plus 10. And I know we're only into week 3. Those stats will matter a lot more as we get into week 12.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but anyway, I just think that I don't think the Rams go 2-0 on the road against these teams, but I think they lose in Indianapolis. But I kind of want to think they're going to beat the Bengals. But that's just my take. I know the football pick would be Cincinnati because they're in a must-win situation, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. Burrow got paid. That's the problem. Yep. Josh Jacobs got paid. He got minus 9 yards or whatever it was.
-2 in Buffalo.
-2. My bad. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So who we're going to put on the clock this week, guys? My vote is either the New York Jets, Arizona Cardinals,
I thought they were already
Denver
there.
Broncos, or Carolina Panthers.
Aren't the Cardinals already there?
I
I'm
thought
sorry.
the
Yeah, I'm
Cards.
sorry.
Yeah,
Not Cardinals.
the Cards. Yeah.
Jets, Broncos, Panthers, or Browns. We can put more than one.
Uh,
I think
That's a
I
hard one.
think Denver's done. I think the Jets are done because the Jets without Aaron Rodgers are not scoring any points. They got the same problem they had last year.
Yeah.
They got a good defense, but
No points.
they
Yeah,
can't
no
score any
points.
point.
yeah, they're a quarterback away. Yeah, still.
Still.
Still. That's a song.
But I think the Panthers are done. I think they go to Seattle this week and get beat. They're going to be 0-3 in that division. I don't think the Panthers are going to make much noise. But what do you guys think? We got to put at least one team on the clock this week.
I put
I feel okay with the Panthers.
yeah, I was gonna
'cause,
say the Panthers because the
Okay.
Jets still can maybe surprise, because they do got enough overround.
Okay.
The Panthers don't have pretty much anything
What
going for
what
them.
about Denver and Cleveland? You want to wait on those two?
I would wait on Cleveland for sure. Denver, close eye on.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
Denver
they
might-
get beat,
we-
if they get
yeah.
beat this week in Miami and go 0-3, I think we're close on them.
Yeah, they're looking over the precipice, and the rocks are falling out. The little pebbles are falling beneath their
Yeah.
feet.
To their benefit, if you will, they're right in the middle of the pack in scoring. I think what are they 15th? with 49 points. So it's not bad, but anyway. Okay. So, V, you're going to the Raiders game. You're leaving early tomorrow morning for a bunch of other stuff too, right? You got some
Yeah,
commercials
I've
you're going to
got
shoot or
some.
something. Okay.
Well, it'd be commercials, videos, but I've got some appearances with Corona, who's of course, has been our sponsor going on 5 years here, and they say duty calls, man.
Yeah.
So I got to keep
Um,
that cash flow coming.
Ed says Bryce Young is injured. Is he out?
Is he injured? I didn't know about. I didn't hear
Wow.
about his injury.
I hadn't
Wow,
heard
that's
about
messed
that.
up.
Wow,
Okay. Well, we put them on the clock anyway, so yeah.
wow.
Well, maybe Minshew loses to Cleveland, or no, it loses to the Ravens in Baltimore for the Colts, and then goes down and loses for the Panthers too. But anyway,
Mm.
Cap, are you going to the game?
Yes, I am. I got a flight out early tomorrow. I could change itinerary for reasons that both you guys know about, so I didn't have to wait.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Ed, shoot. I like Ed's comment. Yeah, amen, brother. Amen on that.
Yeah.
Because that would be really wonderful at this point. But
What
yeah, I will.
what comment was that? I didn't see it.
Got to get Cap some sponsors.
Some
Oh
sponsors.
yeah.
But yeah, we gotta. I'll be out. I think 7 in the morning here. Get out around 1 o'clock. Out in Vegas.
Okay.
Collect some people, and then we will be
Stop by Harrah's at one.
Harrah's at 1.
Mhm.
I have to wait. I have to wait until at least 3 because I got somebody coming in at 2 to pick up.
I
So
feel you. I
yeah.
feel you.
But if it's still going on after that, Hollywood's going to be picking us up, so we'll see.
Okay,
Give me a text around 3 and to see tell you what's going on, if you don't mind.
you got it. I know I'll be in the middle of something, but I'll hit you.
Okay.
Notre Dame got a big one this week against Ohio State. Looking forward to that one
Ooh, that should be a good
on
one.
Saturday. And then Colorado goes into Oregon, so that'll be an interesting one as well if you're following any college football.
Yeah, I was wondering why the Montana Irish jersey was hanging up.
Just something different. Just something different.
Yeah, a Montana Irish jersey is not as offensive
Agreed. That's why I
as
put it up. As the
as
49ers
as a
or
49ers
Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
or Chiefs
or
jersey.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't have a Montana Chiefs jersey. I'm never going to own a Montana Chiefs jersey. Nothing against Joe Montana, obviously, but
Right.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say that you have heard my Joe Montana story, have you not?
I don't think so.
I don't think
How
Okay.
long is it?
It's about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Basically, the city, the Monongahela is where he's from, and Monongahela wanted to have Joe come back for to be like the grand marshal of their parade, basically to show up how much they really like Joe. And Joe's comment was, "How much are you paying me?"
Oh,
Huh.
wow.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
Wow.
that's usually what I say, and then they say nothing. I'll go, okay. What time you want me there?
Yeah.
But okay. Well, I'm looking forward to this week's game. Finally, get to see the Raiders on Sunday night after not being able to see them the last couple of weeks. Let's hope they do what they do, and they can do it without any interference from people running around in striped shirts and get a fair game out of this thing. I don't want to be talking about the officiating next week. I know we're always going to be talking about the Crosby holding calls, but we don't
That's a
we don't
constant.
want to have something critical next week that determines the outcome of the game. So thanks everybody for joining us this week. We'll be back next week, Thursday 3/6 to cover week 4, recap week 3, get you ready for week 4. Then we'll be almost a quarter of the way through the 2020 season. It's flying by. I can't believe it. But for some of these teams, it might go 0-3. There's a lot of football to be played stuff is starting to fall on deaf ears at this point. So let's see who's there. But at this point now, with the Cardinals and Panthers on the clock, you all can start taking a look at who you're going to take in next year's draft.
Yeah. I'm still doing it even if I'm friggin' hurt.
I love it. Thanks for toughing it out, Cap. And you're going through enough already without having an injured shoulder. So prayers for
We got you,
healing in
brother.
all the kinds of ways that you deserve, man.
That's
All
it.
right. Take care, everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Next week.
Got it.
Go Raiders.